What's up, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your sports experience? Dive into the world of live sports like never before with Sports Plus PH. Whether you're a fan of the game or just love the thrill of the action, we've got you covered. Register now at sportsplus.ph. Muli, good evening sa inyo mga ka-Sports Plus. This is Javi Palanya, and joining me tonight on this Wednesday evening, on my left side, Juan Banal, and on my right side, Dino Lee. How are you guys so far? Midweek, Hump Day Wednesday. Musta ang week niyo so far?
Hopefully, NBA turns things around. A lot of good news to talk about. Pag Wednesday kasi, di ba, it's either sobrang pagod mo na,
Yeah, that's
or
right.
parang nabibiting ka pa with the week. So I
Yeah.
don't know about you, Dino, but for mine, parang midweek, pagod na ako. So it's good to talk about sports, a good break from life, and enter this whole world that we can discuss the sport that we love.
That's right. I mean, ang dami mangyayari, ang dami pang mangyayari as the week progresses. Dino, how are you so far?
Ako, pagkapasok ko pa lang dito, napansin ko agad bagong taba si Abby.
Mukhang may mangyayari this weekend or Wednesday pa lang.
Ngayon pa lang may oras
Yeah, and apart from that and what Juan mentioned, which is the NBA ongoing season, first quarter of the season already. I think for Philippine basketball, this week is gonna be interesting.
That's right. We do have our Gilas home games which will be happening on the 21st and the 24th at kasama yung isang game dyan sa mga pag-uusapan natin. Let's check our hot takes for this episode of SPNation. Of course, first, we will be talking about Gilas versus New Zealand, which will be happening on November 21 at the Mall of Asia Arena. Second, we have Coach L.A. Tenorio, masanay na tayo na tawagin Coach L.A. Tenorio, appointed as the new Gilas youth coach. He replaces Coach Josh Reyes. And of course, third, we have the PBA Arena, matutuloy na nga ba? Second to the last, we will be recapping the games that happened today in the NBA. And lastly, we will have our Sports Plus expert picks. Alright, let's dive down into our first topic. It's Gilas versus New Zealand on the 21st. That's going to be November 21. And in the last 4 games, we really haven't been doing a good job. We are 0-4 against the Tall Blacks. But now we are armed with a new roster, practically, and now also a new system, a new head coach. And Coach Tim Cone is very optimistic about our chances heading into this game against New Zealand, despite us having an average losing margin of 29.4 points, especially in the last 3 games against New Zealand. Dino, how are you liking our chances against New Zealand? Do you agree with Coach Tim na maganda nga ang pwede nating ipakita considering all the things that has happened then and now?
Well, when we're taking a look at this matchup between New Zealand and our country, which is the Philippines, you're taking a look at 2 different programs. One is an established one, which is New Zealand. I mean, they've been up there for quite some time already, playing in the World Cup. And back in 2002, they were 4th in the 2002 FIBA World Cup. Diba? So kumbaga, this country plays good basketball. Now, when it comes to our country, which is the Philippines, we're a program that wants to, kumbaga, we want to take that next step, diba? Which has evaded us for quite some time. We fell short do sa FIBA OQT. We won the gold medal in the Asian Games. Which was our first gold medal. So when we look at this matchup, medyo magkaiba, isang established, we're taking that next step, no. Now, ano ba tong tournament na to? This is a FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, qualifying for next year, which will happen in August sa Saudi Arabia. So, one team pala nag-qualify, which is the host, Saudi Arabia. So, basically, even, diba, we still have 4 games. We have 2 games this November window, and then we have 2 games in the Feb 2025 window. Now, 2 of those games will be against New Zealand. Now, even if we lose those games and we beat Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei, and I don't think New Zealand will lose those games as well, we're pretty much secured, even if we lose our 2 games against New Zealand. Now, but we're taking a look at, we taking that next step. So for me, this is a must-win game for the Philippines. Kasi this will show how much we've grown from the Asian Games gold medal, from the FIBA OQT performance wherein we beat the number 6 seed Latvia. We came close against Georgia and Brazil. We were up the first half against Brazil. So parang ito na yung parang inaantay natin, are we gonna take that next step in Asia? Now, sa akin, if we lose this game, I see us winning this game. Because, if we lose this game, I think it's a disappointment. Kasi we wanna take that next step eh. And we look at the lineup of New Zealand, most of their big-time players aren't playing in this game.
That's correct.
And we have a loaded lineup. So yung marami, parang I think, dun sa lineup nila sa World Cup and Olympics, maraming wala dun. And to name a few, it's Shea Ili, who's their top gunner, Finn Delany, and Yannick Wetzel. Wala sila dito sa lineup na to. So, sa akin, of course, we're not gonna take them lightly. Hindi dapat talaga yung ganun yung approach. Pero I think this is a winnable game for the Philippines. Knowing what we've shown the past two tournaments, which is the FIBA OQT and the Asian Games. Now, yung mga games na yan, hindi si Tim Cone yung coach na yan. And if you will look at the lineup on those two last games during the World Cup qualifiers back in 2023, ang naglaro lang dyan si Dwight, si KQ, si Carl Tamayo, and si Ange. No JB at that time, and most of the core players for this team. So ang question mark ko lang for Gilas is outside of the starting five, which most likely will be Kai, Junmar, JB, Newsome, and Dwight Ramos, who's gonna step up for Team Philippines?
Well, we do have Scotty Thompson coming back from the injury when he missed that last window. Pero wala pa rin Jamie Malonzo at saka AJ Edu. But Kai Soto, we're lucky to have him back for this window, especially after what happened dun sa Japan where he had a concussion. Buti na lang na-clear siya agad. But do you agree with Dino on this that, this is a must-win game for us if we do really want to take that step forward in our program, especially right now? I think also I agree with Dino because this is a crucial point in Coach Tim Cone's stint as the national coach.
And I like what Dino said kasi na you have to look at the track record of Gilas, right? And you judge them based on their last games, diba? Last performances. And technically speaking, I've been complaining about this. Like why is New Zealand and Australia in Asia?
That's correct.
Diba? I've been complaining about it.
It's really unfair, to be honest with you.
But the reality is, after winning the Asia and winning gold, obviously we can compete in terms of the top countries of legitimate Asian countries, right? Like that's a statement beating all these countries, especially China. But that says, okay, Philippines can be on top of the world when it comes to Asia, right? But then you have two biggest hurdles, which is New Zealand and Australia. And so you still cannot claim absolutely that you're king of the hill until you beat at least one of those two. And what I like about this lineup is that it's a good combination of Coach Chot's, actually it's Coach Tab's core team and then Coach Tim's core team.
That's
diba?
right. That's nice
kind of like a
mixture,
which both performed well. Diba? So far, we were able to see how Coach Tab's team also performed well. And then at the same time, ito rin yung kay Coach Tim Cone. And putting that together, and I like how Coach Tim said, like, you're about to see a team like no other. That's his statement eh. Diba? Na itong binubuo namin, hindi pa nyo nakikita tong ganitong lineup, which is again a good combination. Diba? And I think we're taller. I think we have enough international experience also from the kind of players that we have. And then we also have a mix of players that are used to Coach Tim Cone's system. Kasi yun yung mahirap eh, di ba? Parang after plucking players and then you shove them into a Gila system, paminsan yung mindset mo iba pa eh, di ba? So that's why we demand more preparation time just to kind of make that shift. But now you have some core players who are used to the Coach Tim Cone system. You have players that have played already in Gilas, and then you have bringing in international talent, and a younger half of the team is probably young. So that good combination, like again, pairing it with what Dino said na it's much less competitive, I think, New Zealand team. Kaya ang expectation ni Dino is to win. But at the same time, we have to consider from what I read, I think nagpalit din sila ng coach eh. So, si Coach Tim mentioned na, that's a curveball. Kasi we've been preparing for the previous New Zealand team, but then now we have a different coach. So they've been depending on online scouting videos, which may not be enough. So yun lang yung curveball, but like I agree with Dino na we can win this. There's a stronger chance of us winning this with the kind of lineup that we have, with the composition, the trajectory, and again, the eagerness to make a statement. Kasi ako nga, for me, ultimately, you have to at least beat Australia or New Zealand to actually secure and legitimize your reign in this part of the region of the world.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think all these things mentioned, I think these stuff, all these things that with the transition period that New Zealand is going through with a new coach and then the absence of a lot of key players, these are things that we have to put aside and not even just think about, because now we don't have any excuse anymore to lose this game
Not
against
to
New
mention
Zealand.
also, we're playing in our home court.
Exactly.
So malaking bagay din yun. Di ba? Well, I mean, there's pressure, but again, it's still different when you have your sixth man.
Pero I think yung last 2 games na yan, when we got blew out yung 25, yung 88-63 and 106-60, it was actually in our home. It was actually in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And make no mistake, no? I still even though we lost 4 games against New Zealand, we haven't won against them. Under Tim Cone with JB as our naturalized player. And of course, di ba, 11 lang yung sinend natin sa OK team. May kasama ka pang Scotty Thompson this time around. There's gonna be 12 players coming in. I don't know if AJ Edo's gonna play because he's doubtful with his knee that he injured in his last game in the B-League prior to this FIBA window break, no? So, parang sa akin, all signs are pointing towards us winning this game. Kasi si PBA nagbigay na, di ba? Nagbigay na sila bago i-start yung Commissioner's Cup.
Yeah.
Itong break na to, which is, baka maging impact din siya kay Justin Brownlee kasi kakagaling lang din sa finals. But I see us winning this game. Now, if there are players to watch out for New Zealand, I think obviously it's Corey Webster who played really well
During the OQT.
During the OQT back in 2016 and has been playing for the kumbaga veteran na talaga to eh. He's been playing for New Zealand. Parang 97 games na siya. So after these 2 games, kasi apart from the Philippines, they're playing Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei. There's 99 games na siya, 'di ba? By the time comes next year, he's gonna be playing for New Zealand for 100 games. So you watch out for this guy. And yung isang nakita ko si Isaiah Leafa. He during the FIBA OQT wherein they beat Croatia, they lost to Slovenia. He was third in scoring in the team. Second si Corey Webster. Wala yung top player niya, si Shea Ely. 13 points per game, 3.5 3-pointers made per game. So si Corey Webster and Leafa, expect them to handle the scoring for New Zealand this game. Saka interesting yung New Zealand na to, pero Cameron stepped down eh.
Yeah.
He mentioned it. Si Judd Flavel yung nag-take over. He was teammates with Pero Cameron back in 1999 to 2002. And then he had a long coaching stint and recently he won yung New Zealand NBL he won back-to-back championships with the Canterbury Rams. So, this guy is nag-coach na rin siya sa New Zealand previously sa juniors and then nag-assistant na siya sa seniors. So, medyo established talaga yung program ng New Zealand and they've been at it for hindi lang sa seniors nila, they've been doing it sa U13, U15, U17, U19. Na bata pa lang nag-identify na sila ng talents as per my conversation with a coach that has experience in the New Zealand basketball. So this is an exciting game for us, big game for us, even though we're pretty much guaranteed to already qualify for the 2025 FIBA Asia Cup. This is something interesting to watch. Abangan to ng mga Philippine basketball fans. Big game for us.
And on the side naman of Gilas, they recently had one tune-up during their training camp in Inspire, wherein they battled the Meralco Bolts. They won that game, and Coach Luigi Trillo does also echo the same sentiments that a lot of the people around us are saying, that we do have a very good chance of winning against the Tall Blacks on the 21st. But there was just one coup de grace that he mentioned. No? We have a very impressive starting lineup that Dino already mentioned earlier. But yung problema lang dito, yung second unit natin, which is comprised of more of the young guys, like sila Kevin Cabral.
Yeah, but I think these guys are also not new to playing on the international stage. I think, for you to even call out KQ and identify him, he has legitimate offers overseas, And so I'm not so worried about the second unit in the sense that your staple naman dyan is Justin Brownlee. He kind of like anchors everything, diba? But ultimately, I think it's a good flavor of old and new. I think it's the ability to play maturely, but like what you said, if New Zealand is playing under man, then it would be a good confidence booster for them to have this kind of experience entering into the different windows also for us.
So moving forward, you both agree that there are little to no problems at all for us in trying to win
you
this
still have
game.
to understand this is still New Zealand.
Yes.
Diba? And what Dino was
And
saying...
New Zealand,
is-
by the way, is world number 22.
Exactly. And what I like about what Dino brought out, which is kind of connecting to our second topic later on. Pero yung yung nagpalit sila ng coach, hindi naman sila yung naghahanap ng coach para manalo eh. Parang part yan talaga ng programa nila.
Kumbaga, nagta-transition lang eh.
Ito ang next best talaga na coach natin. I'm sure it was part of a big program, which is, again, that's what we're up against. We're not against a team, we're against a program. That's the scary part about New Zealand.
This is a country wherein their number one sport isn't basketball.
Yeah, their
It's
number one
actually
sport is rugby.
Rugby, I think they're number one in the world eh. Now when it comes to basketball, they have a solid program. And I think, ewan ko kung gagamitin ng New Zealand pero they have this 17-year-old kid whose name is Oscar Goodman. Michigan Wolverines commit na siya. And he was an all-star 5
I
nung
saw this
FIBA
guy.
U17 World Cup.
I saw this guy play. He played in U16, he played in U17.
All-star
and
5,
he's really good. He's really
He's
good.
a legit 6'7" forward.
They finished 4th in that tournament.
Yeah.
And which speaks a lot about what the program of New Zealand is, because you're going up against the world's best in the juniors division.
And you have to understand that
And this is the future.
I saw the championship game in the Asia tournament between Australia and New Zealand, and they only lost because of a single turnover. That's how closely the talent pool of
So
both
up and coming yung juniors ng di ba?
Okay, so I mean, ang ganda nga nung bring up ni Juan kanina that we now transition into the next topic that we have for this episode. Guys, chime in on your thoughts on that game between Gilas versus New Zealand. But now we transition to our next topic. L.A. Tenorio, we now can call him now finally as Coach L.A. Tenorio. Well, ano naman, he already had coaching experience back then when he was an assistant for Coach Bonitan with the Letran Knights. So that was 4 years. But now he is effectively a new head coach for the Gilas Youth Program. And this is now part of, kumbaga, the continuation of the program that Coach Tim Cone also wants to see dito sa SBP and for our national program. And na-bring up na nga ni Dino kanina na yung bagong coach ngayon ng New Zealand, galing na yan, kumbaga, he climbed the ranks already. And, grassroots is not just developing players, it's also developing coaches. And right now, I think this is a step in the right direction for us if we want to emulate the kind of success that New Zealand has, being the world number 22 in basketball.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons why logically LA is the best pick, right? A lot of people you can see in the comment section and sa iba't iba nga na sinasabi, ba't tayo kumuha ng coach na naman na wala pang talagang winning coaching experience to handle the youth program? And I think that is undermining the experience of an LA Tenorio, di ba? Si LA, and ako, I'm a firm believer that the point guard is always the extension of the coach on the floor, right? He sees the game in a different light. And LA with such tremendous experience internationally and locally and within the system of Coach Tim Cone. And then at the same time, the goal kasi of SBP, as we saw Miss Erica D saying, is the transitioning of the grassroots program of Coach Norman Black for SBP. And then LA is the best bridge to the men's program naman of Coach Tim Cone. And I think he's just like, with everything that he's been through, both out on and off the court, diba? What he brings to the table is very exciting for our youth program. They're blessed to hear the wisdom. Again, obviously, it will need more than that, diba? But we're, like what you said, I think I like what you said na we're on the right path. This is again also acknowledging what Coach Josh has accomplished. Coach Josh did enter the World Cup twice. So, for all the criticisms that he has received, people are forgetting what this guy has achieved. And he kind of set the bar high para lang sa youth program natin. And I think LA is the perfect guy to be able to meet that and supersede that bar. But again, for me, for this to work, that's having a great coach, potential great coach in LA is the first step. But you also have to, there are other pieces Diba? Parang baka naman magkaroon ng mismatch in terms of expectations sa youth program and kay Coach LA, which is gonna be unfair. Kasi part of that is talent acquisition, which is again outside the hands of Coach LA, diba? Whoever will volunteer their players will make a huge difference. The players that we're gonna scout abroad will make a huge difference with the kind of team that he will, pwedeng magaling ka na coach, pero kung kulang yung peso mo, delikado eh. Di ba? Pangalawa, for me, kailangan pa rin ng depth of international understanding. Di ba? Si Coach Willie nga nandito, sinasabi niya, iba ang, sige, maglaro ka sa Japan, sa B-League, maglaro ka dyan, sa Korea Basketball. Pagpunta mo ulit dito sa PBA, iba yung labanan. So, ang punto lang dun is, magkaiba pa rin yung mundo at sistema ng laro sa PBA or laro locally and versus internationally. So, kailangan yung coaching staff ni Coach LA will have to have that deeper understanding of the international landscape. Paano ba nilalaro? Iba eh. Iba ang sistema, iba ang laruan, iba ang kailangan yung klase ng tune-ups, yung acclimatization, lahat, madami yan eh. Diba? But on the third note, for me, is yung frequency of international exposure, yung preparation time. Diba? Malaking bagay yan. I saw this in the program of Coach Josh na when they do get to prepare, mas mataas yung na-achieve nila. Pag konti yung preparation time, doon sila nagiging delikado. And so, how do you balance all of these pieces? But like what you said, having the first piece is crucial, which is having and appointing a coach like L.A. Tenorio.
And having said that, you know, the understanding of the international game is very much important, especially the pieces around him. In his staff, there have been rumors already that Gabe Norwood will be coming in as one of the assistants para dito kay L.A. Tenorio. Dino, do you agree with the SBP that L.A. Tenorio is indeed the right piece for this Gilas Pilipinas Youth Squad? Ang ganda ng sinabi ni Juan kanina that L.A. is the perfect bridge between Coach Norman Black and Coach Tim Cone, having played for both coaches. He played for Coach Norman in Ateneo and he does play for Coach Tim now in Ginebra.
Ako, it really makes sense. When you're trying to... Kasi if we were to recall back a couple of maybe more than 6 months ago, when Erica D got interviewed, I don't know if it was Attorney Noli Iyala who interviewed her on his show. Ang sabi ni Erica D, her goal is for our men's and women's to be top 15 in the world. Now, if we're gonna align to, kumbaga, if a-align natin yung goals and yung galaw natin doon sa top 15, then dapat aligned yung galaw ng
program, yeah.
men's, juniors, and grassroots. And I think it's a perfect fit for L.A. Tenorio to be the head coach of the youth program, given what Coach Tim has done already for in a span of more than a year for our Gilas program. I think it's fitting na we take in someone that's familiar with the coaching style of Coach Tim Cone and si Coach Norman Black para on the same page sila. And si LA na mismo nagsabi na he will establish a similar system to what Coach Tim is establishing. Now, going back to what we said, yung youth, yes, the men's team or the men's seniors team natin ngayon, which is gonna play tomorrow against New Zealand, they may get majority of all the attention, majority if not the most of the attention when it comes to Philippine basketball and representing our country. But make no mistake, yung youth program natin will be crucial in the next 5 to 10 years because they will be the future. Sila Junmar, hindi yan forever maglalaro. Si Justin Brownlee, hindi yan forever maglalaro. So itong mga bata natin na naglaro for Coach Josh Reyes and maglalaro for Coach L.A. Tenorio, it's gonna be important yung development and growth nila and how they perform and hang their heads against the best in the world and in Asia. So sa akin, I think yung kailangan din in a way yung patience eh. Hindi like Coach Josh Reyes was able to do that. Parang he had 6 years, diba? During his time, he took over, if I'm not mistaken, 2017. So ako, I think you need time to really establish that. Kasi yung sistema, iba, yung mga players natin, iba-iba yung style of play nila, iba-ibang coaches yung pinanggalingan nila. So ako, I would emphasize on patience. Kasi yung New Zealand, ang kwento sa akin, meron silang parang may regional tournament sila all the way to nationals. Doon sila nag-ID ng talents at 13, 15, 17, 19. And yung mga piniling talents nila, tinuturo nila doon sa mga selected talents yung style of play ng New Zealand basketball. So sa akin, hanggang from bata pa lang sila hanggang pagtanda, malaki yung pool nila so they can just pick anyone to play for New Zealand. Tayo, medyo sinorte ni Coach Tim kasi medyo parang we can't afford to have a bigger pool, di ba? Kasi yung sarili pa nga lang natin, itong 12, parang they need time to gel eh. So sa akin, ang nakikita ko dito is we need to emphasize on patience and we have to establish what is the Philippine basketball style of play. Diba? Ano yung sistema natin? So that it's gonna be on the same page, not just on the national teams, in the seniors and the juniors, but also dun sa mga liga natin, sa UAAP, sa SBP, kasi I think it's gonna trickle down eventually. Now, when it comes to preparation time, I think it will always be a challenge. Kasi I think sa NBA challenge din naman nila after the finals, June, pagpe-prepare na sila for the Olympics or sa FIBA World Cup. Ganon din for the European leagues. Like, ngayon, ongoing yung mga tournaments. Nagkataon lang sa atin yung PBA, nag-stop. Pero sa akin, I think it's gonna be a challenge talaga yung preparation time. But establishing that core of identifying those talents, establishing that core, creating a system wherein everyone's gonna be on the same page, I think that's gonna be crucial for LA Tenorio. Yung big question mark talaga dito is pwedeng maganda kasi yung plano eh. Everyone can cook up a good idea, everyone can cook up a good plan that can, entice a lot of people na, oh, mukhang maganda yung ginagalaw. We have yet wait to see ano yung magiging execution. Kasi maraming magaling maggawa ng ideas eh. I'm not saying it to challenge whatever it is. I think we just have to look at how they execute and put all of those things and stitch it up together.
Okay, lastly, before we just get off this topic, Juan, you're very much familiar with youth basketball here in the Philippines. Of course, your son was one of Coach Josh's players also with Gilas Youth. How do you think what Dino was saying how do you think it should happen for Coach LA na talagang magawa niya na maayos yung makakakuha siya ng maayos na talent and he puts all things in place, all these core players, so that we can have a good team moving forward year in and year out?
I think SBP is trying to make the right moves. I think appointing Coach Norman Black, at least dun sa grassroots, and then now you have Coach Tim Cohn, and then like I said nga, parang Coach LA is the final piece to the puzzle. Diba? That for us to finally say we have a full program that we can run smoothly, diba? Kasi nga, yun yung kinaiingitan natin sa New Zealand, diba? Na kahit magpalipay ng coach, part yan ng transition, part yan ng succession planning nila, and hindi siya parang, mag-adjust tayo kasi natatalo tayo, harap naman tayo ng iba. Hindi ganun eh, diba? Na, hindi, it's part of the plan. Ganun silang gumalaw, diba? Tayo, hindi kasi natin masabi yun eh, dahil nga parang lagi tayo nanguhula pa at it starts with the men's and then it trickles down to the grassroots, diba? And so I think we're on the right track. We've proven ourselves already in the men's division na dito yung trajectory natin. Now, it will tag along and it will create now the trail that will be followed by the youth program and as well as the grassroots. So, it's exciting. I'm excited for the next batch actually of 16 under na lineup kasi nandyan nga yung mga matatangkad na player na inaabangan natin na born 09 eh. So I'm excited to see them, plus mix them, again, madami naman tayong guards sa Pilipinas. But to have a satellite and kind of like a radar across the nation, that's I think one of the crucial elements that we have to see so that we can really see the talent. And for me, malaking bagay yung NBTC ni Coach Eric Altamirano. Kasi nakikita natin not only the Filipino players locally, but pati abroad eh. So, yun lang, I like what you use, yung ID. Being able to ID and tag talents that fit into the program. That's another step that we have to take, di ba? So, parang census.
Well, I think we're taking a right step also in that direction in terms of scouting and identifying talent, especially abroad with Coach Byron Scott now being appointed as the head coach of SPNation Select.
Sa akin, my only wish, I guess, is to see it through. Kasi mahirap, di ba parang nakaka 1 year pa lang tayo ni Coach Tim, baka in 3 years time, baka wala na yan, di ba? Pero Cameron, I think, when he stepped down this year after the FIBA OQT.
He's been there a while.
He has been there a while. Now, and yung pumalit sa kanya is a student of New Zealand basketball as well. Sa akin, parang kung 3 years lang si Coach Tim, he has 2 years left. I'm just parang theory lang or assuming lang sana yung pumalit, may continuity. Kasi baka after 3 years, baka palitan, iba na naman yung style of play. So yung New Zealand kasi, I think maganda yung continuity nila eh. I guess the European teams, the top European teams, they have continuity when it comes to their basketball programs, yung national programs nila, playing in that style, kumbaga having that style of, basketball. Sa akin, I think yung challenge sa atin is nag-iiba eh. Napapalit ng coach, nag-iiba yung style, nag-iiba ng players. Yan yung are we gonna be on the same page maybe now we're on the same page. The question is, are we gonna be on the same page 5 years from now?
Well, let's hope we can sustain this, whatever we're doing good right now. I hope DSBP has really good plans. They have good plans. We've seen them now. We are seeing them right now, especially with the appointment of Coach L.A. Tenorio as their latest move. We hope that they can sustain this for maybe the foreseeable future. All right, let's head on to our next topic. The PBA Arena, is it gonna be a reality? Governor Chavit Singson has already announced that he is very much ready to finance the PBA Arena kung matutuloy ito, but already plans have already been in place to put it up dun sa Metro Walk property na binili nila. And this is a very good step for the PBA because panahon pa yata ni Comnoli Iyala na ginusto nila na magkaroon ng sariling arena. And syempre, for them, ang laking bagay ito, no?
Yeah, I think if you look at the MPBL experience, you'll see also na yung mga teams doon nagkakandara pa rin to build their own stadiums. Bakit? Kasi it's a statement eh. It's being able to establish your own brand. I think it's also probably revenue generating. There are just multiple functions also to having your arena, having that consistency. Kaya parang it's a statement eh, di ba? Na if you look at the MPBL teams building their arenas, for their teams, magandang kumbaga, the statement is great. It's huge, di ba? I think the PBA also as a brand, you don't see it as having all these multiple brands part of it, but you have to see PBA as a brand. The same way the NBA is also a brand, di ba? And they're thinking of legitimate ways to up their brand status, up their brand cred, up their brand value also, and building your own venue. To be honest, I still struggle with the idea na parang, okay, what's wrong with what we have right now? Diba? Parang that's additional operational expense, that's additional capex again to build your own stadium. But I'm sure the economics of it will explain further why it's beneficial to put up your own stadium. But again, I would only assume that it has a lot to do with the PBA being able to position itself as a brand rather than latching onto the brand of existing teams that are in the PBA and build it strongly. The same way the NBA has been global because of their brand strength. And then hopefully maybe some income generation and some consistency also. So that's my thoughts. I don't know how far along. Again, ito wala pang pirmahan eh. So ito haka-haka to, hypothetical na naman to. Medyo fantasy pa to sa atin. Di ba matagal nang pinag-uusapan to at never naman natuloy. I'm sure even syempre kailangan mo intindihin din yung economics din na pagbanggit ni Governor Chavit Singson na dito itatayo yan. Di ba? Syempre pati yun mag-up din yung value nun. Di ba? So there's a lot of at play na hindi natin alam, but again, until it's there, it's not there. So,
well, at least now there is movement in this plan of the PBA to have its own arena because talagang it was indeed just a fantasy lang talaga before para sa kanila. Pero ngayon, sinabi na ni Governor Chavit Singson, yun nga, and he's already been very visible in some PBA games as well, na itatayo nga daw nila yung PBA arena dun sa 18.4 hectare lot dun sa where Metro Walk used to stand. And Juan mentioned earlier, Dino, na mas magiging magastos pa to for the PBA in the future with additional operational expenses and also may mga capex na ganun. Akala ko malaking tipid to eh. Sorry, wala kasi alam sa ganyan eh.
Ito na ba yung blueprint nila? Or
Di
wala po. Di ba?
Ako naman, pero mo kagad.
Baka AI generated lang. AI generated lang.
Tayo lang ata gumawa.
Fantasy. Yan yung fantasy part ng conversation natin.
Okay, may blueprint. Now, when it comes to the NPBL, as one was saying...
Alam mo, baka yan nga talaga. Hindi natin alam. Nilalait na natin.
Baka yan yung renderings ng PBA.
Sorry, di namin alam. Di pa sa amin napakita yan until now. So,
we're going back to the MPBL, when one was saying yung mga teams meron silang sariling arenas, I would think those are the LGUs eh, di ba?
Yeah,
kasi most of, if I'm not mistaken, most of the teams in the MPBL, yung team owners nila are yung mga LGU officials,
yes,
like the mayor or the congressman. So, mas easily nila matatap yung venues mismo. Like, for Jinggoy, they're using the San Juan Arena. For Nueva Ecija, yun, mga ganon, di ba? So, sa akin, Parang out of nowhere to, no? Parang I didn't see this coming, this news
I think ang
coming
tanong
out.
is bakit di ba?
Baka
Why all of a sudden now?
Ako naisip ko, baka nainggit sila sa UAAP kasi si UAAP meron na, di ba? Possible. Now, of course, this is a good development for the PBA having a new arena, pero sa akin, mapupuno ba? Yun yung question ko dun, mapupuno ba? Like sabi nga ni Juan,
Ano ba, sino ba nagsabing may seats? Wala naman seats yata naman sa din.
diba? Will the numbers work? Now, for me, okay, sa akin na, if they're gonna build an arena exclusively for the PBA, the numbers won't work. Now, if they're gonna open it up, we're a country that loves concerts, they're gonna open up PBA Arena going up against Araneta, MOA, Philippine Arena to cause more traffic, then that's gonna be feasible. Kasi sa akin, kung hindi ka lang kung aasa ka sa PBA for this arena, it's not gonna work. The numbers won't work. But if you will have concerts or celebrity events, yung mga K-pop nandito sa PBA Arena, it's a good location, ha?
Yeah, prime ng Metro Walk.
Maganda yung location ng Metro Walk, ha? So sa akin, that might work. Now, going to the
Pasig, pare. Alam mo, mag-game nga lang sa Phil Sports. Sobrang traffic
no?
na.
Pa lang eh. Grabe.
no?
Yeah, tapos pwede ka pa magpasok ng PVL games. That might be possible. Now, sa akin, pag tinignan mo yung PBA, is this the major and immediate concern? Kasi, if you ask me, hindi ito yung major and immediate concern. Kasi okay naman ako sa setup ng Araneta, PBA on tour, going to MOA, tapos yung finals, di ba, pag Ginebra yung naglalaro, or Manila Clasico, puno yung arena. Pero I think this is too early na gumawa ng arena for the PBA kasi hindi mo pa nga na-establish yung fanbase mo outside of Ginebra.
Alam ko na kung bakit. Alam ko na. Kasi sa ibang venue, kailangan pa nila tanggalin yung tape ng 4-point line. Ngayon, dahil hindi na nila tatanggalin.
Naiilang na yung ibang liga sa 4-point line eh.
Ako, if there's pressing concerns that need to be fixed, I think it's the parity. Kung baga, nandyan yung alleged farm teams, nandyan yung two sets of sister teams na napakatagal na natin pinag-uusapan. And I guess building your business prior to building an arena. Kasi kung titignan natin wala naman talagang professional sports team in the Philippines that has their own arena. Yes, the UAAP will have their own, but it's not owned by any specific school. Sa PBL, hindi rin naman ganun. Sa PBA, hindi rin naman ganun.
Hindi, pero maganda kasi sa UAP, multiple sports kasi ang
Yes,
UAP,
marami
hindi lang
kasi silang
basketball, ang
sports.
daming
Yes.
gamit nung UAP.
Pero usually
diba?
when we look at the NBA, sa NFL, most of the teams own their own arenas.
That's right.
So sa akin, they can do that kasi they already have the market eh. Daming pupunta, buying their merch, buying tickets, 'di ba? Pag big match up, taas ng ticket sales. Dito nga umaasa lang sa Ginebra eh. So, and I don't think they're selling enough merchandise or
I don't
sa
even
akin,
think that they have merchandise. Do they have merchandise?
I think
parang wala.
yes.
Website nga lang. Maghahanap ka nga lang ng stats ng PBA, di ka na nga makahanap eh. Di ba? Pag when we talk...
Pag-usapan na natin yung arena. Araw-araw, madami kang
sa akin,
Pag-usapan natin yung font ng PBA arena. Medyo hindi ako boto dun sa font ng PBA.
If you're gonna do something this big, you have to fix the small things. First, yung website nga lang, yung stats ninyo, hindi na nga hirap na nga tayo
Okay, but yeah, you're saying
stats,
this is a big thing for them. But the things that you said earlier, those are definitely not small things. Kumbaga sinasabi mo na inuunahan lang nila yung mga bagay na kinakailangan ayusin bago nila gawin to.
Parang you know you have a foundational problem in your league and you're trying to innovate without addressing the foundational problem. So nag 4-point line ka na, mag-a-arena ka na. Baka next, ano na ba yung next? Baka innovate ka ng innovate, you're not fixing what's the reason why people are not watching the league. Diba? You're trying to address it with short-term band-aid solutions na baka dapat we should hold back, take a step back. Ano ba yung kailangan natin ayusin para bumalik yung fans sa stadium? Then maybe that's the time we build the arena. Tsaka alam mo naman, pag ngayon malapit na elections, syempre some politicians will say, di ba, with some enthusiasm or with positive notion na Di ba? Baka election kasi, di ba? Di mo masabi.
Tama ka, talking about the elections, sinabi na rin ni Governor Chavit that, one of the details that will happen here in this particular property is the PBA Arena will be standing in what will be called Trump City.
Yan na nga.
Which sabi niya, newly elected US President Donald Trump has already signed off on.
Yeah. Verbally, I think may agreement, pero nothing really official. I think this, again, like, for us, it's a good conversation to have, di ba? Masarap pag-usapan, di ba? Pero ako, it goes back to, just to reinforce yung sinabi ni Dino, parang the big question is bakit, di ba? Bakit ngayon at bakit? Di ba? Bakit kailangan ba siya talaga? Essential ba siya talaga? But I trust, we all love the PBA. That's why we're passionate about it, because ultimately it's still the best. It's the league that has the best talents in the Philippines, diba? And so we want to see the PBA growing, and if they feel like this is the next step, we'll find it. We'll see, diba?
Without a doubt. And before we go into different sides of this conversation, let's move into our next topic. Guys, chime in on your thoughts on the PBA Arena, kung talagang dapat ituloy na ba to, or kailangan ba talaga ayusin muna yung mga problema na na-identify na natin from the start, tulad nga ng mga sinabi ni Dino kanina. Alright, let's move into our next topic. Let's recap the games in the association today in the NBA. There were some very exciting games in the NBA today, and one of those games, I think the first game was Boston versus Cleveland, where the Boston Celtics were effectively able to snap the winning streak of the Cleveland Cavaliers and move them down to 15-1. That was a 120-117 victory. That, by the way, was an NBA Cup game. The Brooklyn Nets were able to dispose of the Charlotte Hornets 116-115, and then the Denver Nuggets winning against the Memphis Grizzlies 122-110. Were you able to catch the games earlier, guys?
I did see the Boston one, and it looked good. I love Tatum. So I just love watching the Boston Celtics now. After watching the starting five, parang I wanted to follow the story of Jason Tatum, na parang he can re-establish himself again after winning that championship. I think they can do it again.
He was the top scorer earlier. At ang ganda ng NBA Cup court ng Boston Celtics, no?
Pero hindi ba ako nga sabi ko, kung maglalaro ako dyan, di ba ako maduduling dun sa, parang iba yung but
it was so green.
I was excited to see the Cleveland continue their streaking, di ba? Pero again, I was also excited to watch Boston play the way they are. So nagkataon lang sila nagkabanggaan, and finally Boston broke that streak of Cleveland.
But at least they have already been part of history as maybe, I think, only the fourth team that has been able to start the season 15-0, talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. So still, good job by their squad of being able to reach that spot this season. But now, more important things. Ikaw, Dino, your thoughts on the games earlier?
Well, yung Charlotte-Brooklyn, di ba naman papanoorin? To be honest, I mean, I'm just being real. Like, sino ba yan, di ba? Parang, yeah, maybe LaMelo Ball, pero you're not gonna watch that game. You'd rather spend it maybe studying or handling your business or working.
Or fixing the font of
or
PBA
working,
Arena.
working out, di ba?
And there have actually been rumors already that Brooklyn is ready to trade away Cam Thomas, their best scorer so far this season.
Tapos yung Denver-Memphis, before I get to Cleveland and Boston, Denver-Memphis were missing a lot of star players. Although Russ Westbrook played well. He had a triple-double.
That was his 200 triple-double, by the way.
Wow, grabe, no? I think he's ahead of LeBron, di ba?
He is way ahead. He is number 1 in all-time triple-doubles.
In all-time?
All-time triple-doubles.
Tapos, ang Denver Nuggets mo, wala kang Aaron Gordon, wala kang Nikola Jokic. Daming injuries eh. Tapos, Memphis, you didn't had Ja Morant, Zach Edey, Marcus Smart, Gigi Jackson. So, parang, di ba? Parang lack of star power in that game. Now, when it came to the Cleveland and Boston, like I said last week, sabi ko, di ba? This is the game that might possibly break the streak of Cleveland. Kasi yung Chicago, ilan games yun, they're gonna go to the 15-0 for sure. Ako, crucial to for, I think, in the East, itong game na to. Kasi, kung nanalo dito yung Cleveland, they might have a chance on getting the home court advantage for the rest of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
At this point pa lang?
Kasi first half na tayo, 16, that's already 20% of the season. Kasi after this game, you have, after neto yung next ilang games yan, New Orleans, Toronto, Atlanta. Tapos, I mean, may Boston ka, Washington, Denver, Charlotte. Miami, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Utah. Yung makikita mo lang dyan na medyo kayang tumalo sa kanya, Boston, Denver, Miami. Milwaukee isn't that, they're not playing well. Philadelphia is, they're kind of lost as a franchise right now. So parang sa akin, this is crucial for Boston kasi, di ba, you're gonna face Cleveland 4 times for the regular season. Pero this was a game that they should have kailangan nila makuha kasi magiging important to when it comes to the end of the regular season kasi of course, obviously, they're still the favorites in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA. Pero if you give Cleveland one leg up dun sa home court advantage, that might hunt them back when they might possibly come face to face in the playoffs.
Especially because yun nga, sila rin naman yung nagtapat sa playoffs last year at Boston rin naman ang nakapaglaglag sa Cleveland Cavaliers in last year's playoffs. Let's take a look at the second page of our NBA recap. We still had 3 games that happened. Dallas winning over the New Orleans Pelicans 132-91. Big blowout. OKC losing to the San Antonio Spurs. Chet Holmgren, I think, did not play in this game. But for the San Antonio Spurs, Wembanyama was also out. They had to bank on the efforts of Chris Paul, who had a vintage performance in this game. And of course, for the last game, the LA Lakers were able to win 124-118 on the heels of 37 points, a career high once again for Dalton Knecht after he put up 27 points the day before. That was yesterday. So back-to-back career nights para kay Dalton Knecht, the 17th pick of the draft this year. And I saw a comment in social media that thank you to the 16 teams that passed up on Dalton Knecht. We now have a flamethrower with the LA Lakers.
Totally agree. I'll let Dino talk about this because that's his guy since day one. He's been raving about this guy. So I'll give him his moment in the spotlight.
Alam mo, pag tama yung mga sinasabi ko in the past episodes,
Sarap na feeling
it makes you feel like a genius, Now, going to the Los Angeles Lakers, they're on a 6-game winning streak. They're sitting 3rd in the Western Conference.
There's really a different aura with you saying that. They're on a 6-game
winning streak. The hottest winning after
Cleveland ended the 15-game winning streak kanina.
Outside of Orlando, who's on a 6-game winning streak. The hottest team in the NBA right now is the Lakers, my friends. They're just sitting behind, the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is at 11-4, and then Golden State at 10-3. Now, when you look at the Lakers right now, and their rookies, yes, Bronny gets most, if not all, the attention.
But I think that's about to change right now.
But on a business standpoint, yes, it is Bronny.
Business standpoint.
But on the basketball court, it's Dalton Knecht. My God, 37 points, 9 out of 13 from the 3-point line.
Diba? The most in a rookie?
Yeah, by a rookie.
Yeah. Okay.
4 na yata sila or?
Yeah.
Grabe, parang kinikilig ako pag pinag-uusapan ko. Although, of course, my team is still Dallas. I mean, I'm rooting for Kyrie.
Yeah, but there wasn't really anything to talk about in that blowout win that they had earlier.
Yes.
So, go ahead. Talk about Dalton Knecht as much as you want.
I've been telling you guys, since the start of the season, sinabi ko to, the best white guy duo in the NBA, Austin Reeves and Dalton Knecht. Okay? If you look at Dalton, the last 4 games, he's averaging 24.25 points per game. He's made 21 3-pointers on 65% shooting. That's 5.25 3-pointers made per game. Yung in-increase, di ba, I think Rui Hachimura went down. Then si Coach JJ, yung adjustment niya after they lost against Memphis nung may Jamoran, binench niya si coming off the bench si D'Angelo Russell. Then with this guy coming in, the past 4 games, grabe yung minutes niya, he's producing. So maybe Rookie of the Year.
Oh!
I'm sensing
Bold
with no player right now separating himself from the rest of the rookie class. And LA the Lakers needing Dalton Knecht's minutes and production just the way he did the past 4 games on a 6-game winning streak. it gives him a chance to win that Rookie of the Year.
Well, the question right now is he gonna get the same kind of playing time in the next few games?
I think he's earned
I think
it.
he's earned it.
He's earned it.
He's earned it.
Now,
The
syempre,
same way people also doubted the rest of the guys, di ba? Na parang, sino tong inugot na naman ng LA, di ba? So, I think kaya naman niyang i-establish. And even the preseason tournament naman, nakita na natin, which I think yun yung pinanood ni Dino na
Correct,
impressed na siya eh.
Yeah, he did have a game there also wherein he knocked down a lot of 3-pointers. Was that 7 or 8 also around
Parang
that number
8
rin di ba? And he knocked down 9 out of 12 kanina
So,
against the Utah Jazz, by the way.
LA has the 2 most talked about rookies in the NBA right now.
Sino yun? Okay, Bronny James.
Bronny James, number 1.
Oo naman, kinakalimutan mo si Bronny.
sorry.
Favorite yun ni Juan.
Si Bronny, kinakalimutan mo eh.
Alright, so that's a recap of the games of the association that happened today. Let's now move on to our SPNation expert picks. Sa mga games na mangyayari bukas, we're picking 3 exciting games which we will share to you. One, and Dino will be breaking down to us kung ano yung maging picks nila o bakit yun na naging picks nila. First off, we have Cleveland going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. That's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. New Orleans is 4-11 right now. Cleveland, as we mentioned already earlier, lost to the Boston Celtics. That's why they are at 15-1. I don't think this is gonna be a hard pick for you guys.
Well, I'm obviously it's a no-brainer. New Orleans is struggling right as a franchise. They're struggling right now. They're struggling even more in their away games. Cavs also on the other end has won 10 out of the 11 home games, so the favor is medyo leaning towards the Cavs in this one.
And you know, itong New Orleans kasi, aside from just having injury problems as well, the players on the floor, they're not really be able to adjust well to the loss of these guys, as evidenced by that blowout loss against the Dallas Mavericks earlier. Dino, I'm sure you will be picking Cleveland on this one.
Bro, ang dali nito. Parang elementary. Di sa akin, Cleveland talaga to. Kasi the last time I think the Pelicans were relevant was when they had Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins in their lineup. Tapos may Rajon Rondo pa nun when they upset the Portland Trail Blazers that had Damian Lillard. So I think that was ano pa yun, pre-pandemic na yun. After that, I didn't see them being relevant unless...
Next na tayo, next mo na. Parang huwag mo na paabay.
Saka guys, ang dali nito. Wala kang... Di ba, hindi naglaro si Jose Alvarado ngayon, Herb Jones wala ngayon, CJ McCollum wala ngayon, DeJounte Murray wala ngayon, Zion Williamson ngayon. They haven't issued an injury report, but these guys have been playing a lot of games this season. So, easy pickings for Cleveland.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating if we keep talking about this because CJ McCollum and DeJounte Murray are both my players in fantasy basketball. So let's move on to the next game, which is Atlanta versus the Golden State Warriors. Atlanta is 7-8 right now, while Golden State is 10-3. Their latest loss coming at the hands of the Los Angeles Clippers. That was a 102-99 decision. This was a game where they were down for most of the match and they played catch-up basketball the rest of the way. While, you know, Atlanta, they've been blowing hot and cold, mostly cold this season, despite the presence of the number 1 pick, Zachary Ressuscité.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, Golden State is coming from a loss also. So I think they're coming back a little bit more aggressive and wanting this win. On top of that, Atlanta, 15 out of their 16 last road games, they've lost. On the other hand, you have Golden State winning all 9 games against teams with a greater loss record. So kung kalaban nila, mas madaming loss kesa sa win sila, ang Golden State kadalasan 9 in their last games na 9 na gano'n, ang kalaban na panalo sila. So again, stats favoring Golden State Warriors.
Do you think this is going to be close? Do you also pick Golden State, Dino? Do you think this is going to be close or do you think this is going to be a blowout?
I mean, if Curry plays, kasi he was listed in the injury report with left knee bursitis. So, but he's listed as probable along with Kevon Looney. With Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson is listed as questionable with a left lateral lower leg inflammation. Who's been playing well, second fiddle for Trae Young. So pero I think home court pa ng Golden State.
Yeah, home court. Tapos galing sa talo pa.
Tsaka mahirap sa Golden State kasi they have a lot of weapons na pwedeng pumutok for them So I think Golden State will win.
Yeah, I mean, even without Steph Curry in the lineup, they still, as Dino mentioned, you have Buddy Hield there, and then you also have guys like Pojenski who has also been playing well. So, ang ganda na magiging chances ng Golden State. I also do pick Golden State for this one. So, guys, kayo, I'm sure you do have your thoughts on this one, so comment na comment on who you will be picking for this game. Our next game, we have the New York Knicks going up against the Phoenix Suns. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. The New York Knicks are 8-6, while Phoenix is 9-6. Juan, your pick for this game?
I think Phoenix, to be honest, would want to win because the next teams that they're going to play against, well, the next three would be LA, Nets, and then Golden State Lakers. So para kung ako yung Phoenix, gusto ko nang panalunin to kasi medyo mabigat-bigat yung mga susunod na kalaban. Mahirap lang kalaban itong New York. Pero Phoenix, again, 5 out of the 7 at home they've won. They've won also 8 out of the 10 games that they've played against the Knicks thus far. So for me, just looking at that, if I were Phoenix, I'd want to win this bad. Or else I'm facing a really long road ahead with the next teams that I'm playing against. Diba?
You, Dino, do you echo the same sentiments as well?
Phoenix? No, I'll go with New York. New York's riding a 3-game winning streak. Phoenix is riding a 4-game losing streak. And in this game, they won't have Bradley Beal, they won't have Kevin Durant. Sa New York, si Miles McBride lang yung 6-man nila yung wala. So, tapos si Yusuf Nurkic is questionable with a left ankle sprain. And looking at the record of Phoenix, with KD in the lineup, the first 9 games, they're 8-1. So basically, they're 1-5 without KD. So, and you're going up against New York with Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns.
Tapos wala ka pang Yusuf Nurkic.
Wala ka pang Yusuf Nurkic. Wala kang KD trading baskets with Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. I think New York's gonna win this game. Kasi Devin Booker, mag-isa ka lang ngayon.
Yeah.
Mahirapan ka yan.
And they're coming off a great win against the Washington Wizards, 134-106. Alright, that's it for the 3 games para sa ating Sports Plus Nation expert picks. And that's also it for our show. Let's check out our comments for this episode. Mga thoughts nyo dun sa mga pinag-usapan natin. Maganda naging topics natin for our Wednesday episode. Gray Harris said, sa tingin nyo, kailangan pa natin ng NBA player sa Gilas?
I think ang reference na ito is Jordan Clarkson.
Yes.
Diba? Parang, I think people are happy already with Justin Brownlee. He's shown.
Do you think Justin is better than...
No, better.
No.
Better fit.
Better fit.
Yeah, better fit. But ako, alam mo, to be
No,
honest.
I share the same sentiments.
Pero nakakatakot kasi dito, Justin Brownlee is also not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Parang who's
He's
next
36
up,
years
diba?
old.
Parang we saw that also, nag-struggle nga siya in the last finals, diba? So parang kung bubuhat na naman siya, even naman nung nanalo tayo ng gold, nakita naman natin kung paano nag-vote si Justin Brownlee doon, diba? So medyo kabado tayo. Obviously, alam natin pagka may NBA player, immediate impact, Jordan Clarkson can definitely, he's an example of somebody who can literally get the buckets, diba? But to fit in a system, we may not have to have an NBA player, but again, red flag lang kasi medyo hindi naman bumabata yung Justin Brown.
That's right. But we do have Benny Boatwright waiting in the wings, pero hindi inaantay pa natin yung naturalization process niya to move forward. But in the NBA, there is a young guy with the Houston Rockets named Jalen Green that could possibly shoot up for us in the future. I don't know how or when, if it's gonna happen, but that may be in our sight.
Will he be considered naturalized? Jalen?
Yes.
But he was able to play,
because he already played for
Naturalized.
USA.
Sa Team USA. No, this is actually a great question. If we really need a NBA player sa Gilas, if we can afford, di ba, kasi we've never had a homegrown NBA player yet. If we can afford to develop these homegrown NBA players, that will be big for the Philippines. Now, if we're just gonna naturalize someone there, baka, parang sa akin, hindi lang dapat tayo nakatingin sa naturalized players. We should be looking at the youth program, the players that will play
kasi,
with the naturalized players. Sa akin,
ang ano dyan kasi, Dino, is
development
I think the question really here, the underlying question is, do we need somebody who's talented enough in the NBA?
Can we afford to have someone
that's
like
besides the point. Let's say we can afford. Pero kasi nga, sinabi mo, sistema at programa, matagal-tagal pa natin mabubuo yung programa na makaka-develop tayo ng player na ideal, di ba? Pero habang naghihintay ba tayo, parang kaya ba tayo buhatin ng NBA player, di ba?
Sa akin, when you look at the NBA, most of the players that are the top players that are playing there are playing for their respective national teams. So the ones that you can probably afford to have in Gilas when JB hangs it up is not the tier 1s. So parang sa akin,
Well, we never really had a
tier
tier
1.
1. Exactly.
Saka medyo mahal
Jordan
yun, di ba?
Clarkson isn't... I mean, he
Jordan-
was the sixth man of the year, but
Jordan
like,
might be
he's
tier
not like
3, tier
Nikola
4.
Jokic level
He's
or
not tier
LeBron
2.
James
He's
level.
Not tier,
yeah.
He's not tier 2.
Not even tier 1, right?
Jordan might be tier 3, tier 4. So parang sa akin...
naubos na yung bulsa natin nun, ha?
Oh, if you're aiming for tier 2, and those ang mahirap sa tier 1s kasi are the ones playing in the USA and the national teams like sila Lucas, sila Giannis, yung mga international players. The tier 2s are hoping that they get to play for Team USA and for their respective national teams. So medyo yung dalawang levels na yun, medyo mahirap na kunin. So parang sa akin, medyo mahirap talaga kumuha ng hindi lang NBA player, yung level of NBA player that's gonna help us compete with the top in Asia and top.
Pero ito, Gray, ito last
The
na
world.
sasabihin ko sa'yo about it. Malay mo, yung NBA player natin sa Gilas, baka na nga si Kai Soto. Baka.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Alright, next comment. Di ko mabasa yung pangalan, di ko alam kung paano basahin yan. Pero sabi niya, dapat lahat ng liga dito sa Pilipinas ay nakapatag
Mali mo
sa
sa Japan,
FIBA
no?
style of
Maybe
play.
from Japan.
Japanese ba yan? Oh, di ko alam eh.
Parang
ba yan?
Japanese eh. Parang
ba?
Japanese eh.
Oh, anyway, thank you to however you pronounce your name. Dapat lahat ng liga dito sa Pilipinas ay nakapattern sa FIBA style of play. Your thoughts on this, guys? Because the PBA has already made moves on that before. By having the rules pattern to FIBA rules.
4-point line.
Hindi, dati. I'm saying before. Okay, I'm saying before.
It's I think one step making sure that at least there's some kind of alignment, 'di ba? Para hindi rin major yung adjustments. It's one variable, I would have to say. Why not, 'di ba? Parang what do you have to lose pagka nag-FIBA style ka, 'di ba? It's still another set of rulings also. And if you kind of want to see your path, lalo na yung mga grassroots, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Kailangan
I think that's the most important. Yung grassroots
At
talaga.
least kung doon papunta kasi developmental eh. So may upside pa yan na pwede silang maging national team player.
Yes.
And kung sanay na sila sa ganyang rulings, why not?
Exactly.
yung crucial dito, I think will be not just the player development eh. I would think it's the coaches development. Kasi sila yung nagtuturo sa mga future ng
Agree.
Philippine basketball eh. This might be challenging in my personal opinion na i-integrate natin yung FIBA style of play kasi medyo Americanized na talaga yung style of play of basketball.
Which is something that you think should be changed already at this point?
Well, you have to start from somewhere. Kasi yung looking back to what Juan said earlier, sinasabi niya yung preparation eh. Nagiging challenging yung preparation is because, I mean, this is just how I analyze things. Pag naglaro ka sa PBA, tapos tinap ka ng national team, going to a team cone program, and you're not from a team, you didn't play for team cone, you don't play for team cone in the PBA, magiging adjustment talaga yun. Kasi iba yung style of play of a Chot Reyes or of a Coach Yeng Yao, then you're gonna play for the national team with 1 week preparation, less than 1 week preparation. That's gonna be challenging. Kaya siguro sinabi niya to kasi pag yung style of play natin sa Pilipinas, hindi lang sa national team, is FIBA style or you could say European style or whatever system that is na align tayo sa national team natin and what coach team's program is, then the preparation will be much easier kasi plug and play ka na lang eh. Like New Zealand can afford that kasi lahat ng players nila that they will tap is sanay sa style of play ng national team nila. So sa akin, this might be challenging. It will take time. Tapos you have to see it through eh. Hindi pwede yung papalit-palit ka ng coaches eh.
Kung ano yung nangyayari kasi sa atin, there continues to be drastic changes along the way that really hinders
But I do
us.
believe this is possible.
It is possible, especially with the things that have been happening recently. There have been a lot of positive outcomes, especially sa ating national program. Okay, do we still have some comments? Calvin Abuera says...
Kala ko si Calvin Owepa.
One letter na lang eh. Calvin Abuera says, para sa akin as a PBA fan, alisin na ang mga farm team. Ginagamit lang yan ng mga malalaking team para bumalik sa dati. Ang exciting na mga tao, gawin balance ang player, pati sa trade, dapat balance. Well, you know, these are things that we've been echoing naman, even before.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's something that perpetually people are talking about. It's a mainstay in the comment section. So, pwede na tayo mag-move on kasi ito alam na natin. Talaga.
8 years ka na, the last time a non-SMC, non-MVP team won a championship was 8 years ago, which was Rain or Shine back in 2016.
Yeah.
Now, and you have to take, if I'm the PBA, I have to take a look at what the product is. And the product is the game of basketball. What would make people want to watch it? You have to make it, everyone's competitive, di ba?
Yeah,
Yun talaga yun eh. And
certainly is it happening
obviously
right
with
now.
the last conference, SMC MVP team. Diba?
Well, Rain or Shine did reach the semifinals, but still not very encouraging. Maybe until non-SMC, non-MVP team wins the championship in one conference soon enough. All right, let's move on. Do we still have one more comment waiting in the wings? Last 2 comments. All right, let's check out our last 2 comments. Galing kay Wesley Nolasco, dapat talaga parehas lang. Kawawa naman yung lagi nasa ilalim. Ibang klase ang PBA ngayon. But just like what Calvin said a while ago, we really have to fix
Abuera.
Calvin Abuera.
Abuera. Okay.
Alam ko si Calvin.
Hindi ko alam kung yun yung totoo niyang pangalan or...
No, but yeah, same sentiment. Next comment.
Grabe, no? Wala eh, I mean...
Yun na lang yung clamor eh.
Parang hindi siya scripted pero scripted.
Hindi, kasi they never have had the time or they never worked on this yet. So, until they do, people will keep saying something about it again and again and again.
Parang si Cedric Bearfield, malapit na pitasin yan.
Parang na eh. I've been hearing a lot of rumors as well. Alright, let's take a look at our last comment. Thank you so much, Wesley Nolasco. Last comment comes from Eric Velayo. Ganyan talaga ang basketball. No excuses. Kapag talo, wala nang dahilan. Injury si ganon, injury si ganito. Well, tama naman yan. I'm not sure where this comment
I think sa NBA
stemmed
ito
from. Sa NBA ba
Ang
to?
daming injuries, di ba?
Daming injuries.
Embiid is... Di ba na-call out daw siya ni Tyrese?
Yeah, actually, that was a very funny story that I heard last night. They had a team meeting and Tyrese Maxey called him out.
In the NBA, you need your main players to play. So, it's hard to win games or even to get to the playoffs if you don't have your main players. Sobrang hirap.
Well, at least maybe we can take consolation from the fact that the NBA does also have their foundational problems.
It's a long season eh.
Yeah, I mean, 82
82
games, that's really very hard. But, with the advancements in medicine right now, parang wala naman talaga sila dapat sanang excuse eh. Kaya parang mas marami pang injuries na nangyayari ngayon. Anyway, that's it for us right now. Thank you so much to everybody who commented, who watched, and who tuned in until the very last moment for this night's episode of SPNation Season 2. Maraming salamat. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on TikTok and check out our YouTube channel as well. Nandyan yung documentary ni Dwight Ramos. Alright guys, check out the Gilas game tomorrow at the Mall of Asia Arena. Maraming salamat ulit sa pagdalo. For Juan Banal and Dino Lee, this has been Javi Palanya saying good night once again. Catch us on Friday.
I was like on that last straw, and then I got the chance in the Philippines, and then I kind of guess my back was on the wall, and it just felt like I got to make this work.